Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? All right, perfect. Yeah, sorry, I was trying to log in the account. Okay, now, are you able to see my screen? I'm sharing. Okay, perfect. So let's get started for today's lesson. Today is April 8th, 2023, and we will talk about the mouse and keyboard actions with Selenide, explicit wait, and taking screenshots, and a little bit about reportings. So before we continue, I would like to just review whatever we did in the last class. So we pretty much covered yesterday on handling specific use cases, such as if there is a checkbox or radio button in a website, how do you interact with those elements with Selenide? And if there is a drop-down element on the website, how do you interact with drop-down elements? And also, if there is an alert, like JavaScript alert, not normal web page pop-up, but JavaScript alert, what would you do? And also, if there is an iframe on the website, what we should do. Pretty much, if there is a radio button or checkbox, we can use assertion to make sure if a checkbox is already checked or unchecked. Similarly, if a radio button is already checked or unchecked, we can do assertion. All we have to do is locate the checkbox element and use should or should not method. For example, if you want to make sure that if a radio button or a checkbox is already clicked or selected or checked, then you can use, if it is not already selected, you can use should not checked. If you want to do assertion and make sure that if a checkbox is checked or clicked or selected, then you can use should checked method to make sure that it is checked, it is clicked, it is already selected. There can be this kind of use cases in test cases. And simply use click method to click on a radio button or a checkbox to make sure if it is, if it is already selected, when you click on a checkbox or radio button, it will be, especially checkbox, it will be unselected. So you can use click method to change the current status of a checkbox or a radio button. And the second thing we learned yesterday was to just know how to interact with drop-down elements. Pretty much drop-down are a list of web elements. For example, drop-down is used to store the number of years, number of months, number of days, and it is pretty much used to store the element as a list. So we can use this drop-down in automation script. In Selenium, when you have a drop-down with this kind of setup, with this kind of select element, it is a little bit longer to select an option from a drop-down. In Selenium, normal traditional Selenium, we should use select class, select object to interact with the options. But in Selenide, we don't need to create any select class. Selenide objects, the methods can select the options without any select class. So it is less work with Selenide. What we do, we just use select option, the select option. Either we can pass an integer or pass a string. If we use integer with select option, it is automatically understanding that you are trying to use index. And index start at 0. For example, if you want to select the first option, the second option, we use index of 1. If you want to use if you want to select the text from a drop-down by visible text, for example, 2022, you just pass that 2022 as a text Selenide will automatically understand that you are trying to use the visible text to select the element. We have the second method, which is select option by value. It is going to accept the value of the element, which is pretty much the in the HTML element right here. The value attribute must exist, so you can use this value attribute. So you can pass this 2022 if you want to. You select the option by value. So straightforward. In Selenium, there are similar methods, but in Selenium, we should use, kind of select object to interact with this kind of select elements, but in Selenide, it was way shorter. Okay, the third thing we learned was to interact with the alert. This is also, a possibility that when you work with the websites, web pages, when you do automation, when you click some buttons, some alert pop-ups, that kind of pop-ups can show up. And when it shows up, you have to take care of it. Otherwise, you cannot continue the test case, the automation. None of the web elements are clickable or visible, not visible, but clickable, or you cannot interact. You cannot continue the other pages. You cannot go to the other pages. You cannot click in anything else. It is like your screen is locked if there is an alert. The website is locked if there is an alert. So to unlock it, you either click on OK or cancel. And we cannot inspect. These are not part of web element. This is just JavaScript alert. In that case, and how do you know JavaScript alert? If you right click and if you cannot do inspect option, it means it is a JavaScript alert. There are similar pop-ups in the websites. For example, sometimes you can see X button on this kind of window pop-up. They are not JavaScript alert. They are window pop-up. So you can right click and you can locate this element and you can click on it to get rid of this informational pop-up, okay? That is different than JavaScript pop-up. This is JavaScript. This is one way. You can right click. If you cannot see inspect option or if you cannot right click, it means there is a JavaScript alert. Or simply, you can also check the HTML code. If there is an on-click handler, this is JavaScript handler. It means there is also a JavaScript alert. Sometimes, you can see similar pop-up. Don't get confused with that. That pop-up will have an X option here. For example, there might be some cookie pop-up or informational pop-up. You can see that X option. When you right-click, you can inspect that element. So you can click. They are not alert. They are simply pop-up for, it is part of the web page, but this is not part of the web page. It is generated by these functions. Okay, these functions. And we said there are three type of alerts, either alert, box, or confirm, or prompt. This is a prompt. Alert means pretty much there is only one option, OK option. There is no checkbox, no cancel in alert boxes. In confirm box, in confirm, there are OK plus cancel. You can confirm. Confirm means you have an option to click OK or cancel. And there is no dialog box for confirm. And lastly, the prompt. Prompt. Okay. Prompt right here. This prompt has OK. That prompt has cancel. That prompt also has this dialog box. So that is the most advanced form of alert. In that case, you can enter some information here, some text, and you can either confirm or click cancel. That is the last prompt. So in yesterday's example, we did prompt because that is more advanced form of, normal alert or confirm JavaScripts. So that is pretty much it for alert. And we just did automation yesterday on that. Last one was the iframes. iframes are also very common in the web page, and sometimes you can see multiple iframes on a page. You can see normal iframe, or you can see nested iframe. So it can be like here iframe. Okay, this is normal HTML page or DOM element, or let's say HTML. Okay, you have iframe under this HTML, and okay, in the same level, there can be another iframe here. In the same level, there can be iframe, one more iframe, right? So let's say there are 3 iframes. By default, your automation driver is right here. By default, drivers are here. Our driver. When I say driver, the automation, the control of our web driver, or in Selenide, web driver runner, or simply driver. That whatever you do, it will be on this level, not under this iframe, okay? Not here, not under this iframe, or not here. The driver will not see them by default. Driver will see anything outside of the iframe. Okay, something here, right? Let's do that. Okay, something here or here. Driver will see anything outside of the iframe. If you try to interact or locate an element inside the iframe, you have to switch to the iframe. If you say here, switch to in Selenide, it is switch to, you can get into the iframe. And there are 3 ways to get into the iframe: by index, by ID or name, or you can write a web element, that returns. You can either use XPath, CSS, or by ID, by class, by name, by link text, by partial link text. You can use any of those to get into the iframe. So when you do that, you can get into the iframe. So once you use those methods, the driver will get into the iframe. So driver will be here. When you switch to method, driver will be here. Then driver can see those elements. But in that case, driver cannot see anything outside of the iframe. Driver cannot see nothing here. Driver cannot see anything here. Driver cannot see anything here. Driver can only see this. It is like a house. House has a room. This is room 1. So when driver is in room 1, driver cannot see anything outside of room 1. This kind of, there is some walls in the floor of the side, and driver cannot see anything outside of that iframe. So we can get in the iframe and we can get out of the iframe by just going to the driver default content. So we have to get out of the iframe if we need to do anything outside of that iframe. So here, if you want to switch to this one, the first iframe, you say switch to 0 index. This one switch to 1. This one switch to 2. There is one use case. Also, I want to show you one more explanation here. Okay. So let's say there is also frame inside the frame. Frame inside the frame, which means nested frame. Let's say there is an iframe here. Okay, iframe. There is another. This is here our HTML default page. And there is another iframe under this iframe. There are some here elements. There are some here elements. So in that case, driver is here by default. Driver is here by default. Driver. Driver can be switched to the frame 1 first. Okay, you can say driver switch to 0. Then when you are here, you can say one more time, driver switch to 0, index of 0. Then it will get into here. So you have to use switch to here. Switch to, driver will be here, but it will not see anything under that. So you can use one more time, switch to function. Switch to function to get into this level. So it is like like again the house. There are some rooms. If you want to get into the inner rooms, you have to open the door and get into that room. And the disadvantage will be once you're in an iframe. For example, your driver is here. Once you use twice, then driver cannot see outside of this iframe. So that is one of the common reasons why the automation scripts can fail, or it is hard to automate some of the web pages. So the industry is trying to get rid of this iframe, because when you use too much iframe, the web page is getting very slow. But currently, there are some alternatives, but not much. Still, iframe is common on the pages. So if your test cases are failing, it might be because of the iframes. And if there is a nested iframe, it is difficult to automate. So you have to be careful, manually observe the iframes, and then you have to get in the iframe and get out of the iframe in logical order. So it is required, if there is a nested iframe, it is required to do lots of incentive, test cases, actually manual observation, so that you can be automating safely. So that was the summary of yesterday's class. Today, we will talk about the keyboard actions, mouse and keyboard actions, explicit wait, and also we will talk about a little bit reports and screenshots. So first of all, the actions. Actions means in Selenium and Selenide, it is pretty much used for interacting or for performing mouse and keyboard actions. For example, you want to right-click on an element, right-click, just like this, right-click. Or you want to double-click, okay, double-click, like that. Or you want to drag and drop like this, okay, drag and drop. Or you want to move your mouse on a specific element. For example, on a website, there is a button you want to click on, or you want to move over your mouse to that element. Or you want to scroll the page down, scroll the page up. In that case, we have to use actions class. Pretty much actions are very useful, and it is good to use, especially when there is a mouse required actions or keyboard required actions. I put here some examples. For example, if you want to drag and drop, if you want to take one element and drag it over somewhere, you can use actions plus, and actions in here in Selenide, you don't have to create actions object. In Selenium, we have to create actions object, but in Selenide, we can just call actions function straightforward from static Selenide classes. So we don't need to use actions object. That is a big advantage to use, because this is straightforward. In Selenium, we have to create actions object. Okay, normal Selenium class, actions. For example, actions equals new actions. Then we have to use that actions dot, okay, and we have to pass the driver. We have to say actions dot, then it will show up. But no longer we need to create an actions object with Selenide. So this is used, for example, to drag one element on the other element. This is used for right click. This is used for moving the mouse over a specific element. This one, click and hold, move to element. This is also, these two does the same thing with different methods. Even this one does the same thing with different methods. So these are all used for holding a source and moving it over to a specific target. This is also used to move the source in a specific coordinates, like on a page. This is gonna, move the element, our source, into x coordinate is 160, y coordinate is 30. It is going to move it in that location on a page. For example, let's say that point is here. So the element will be moved right here on the page. And also we can do scroll up or down. There are many ways to do scroll up and down in Selenide. So we can use send key, and we can use keys dot page up or keys dot page down to move the page up or down. So this is used for scrolling page up or down. So these are some of the examples. Just I want you to also notice that each and every single actions method ends with perform keyword, perform. This perform is required to execute an action. If you don't use perform, your script will not fail, but it will not execute. It will not do the action. So it will not just right click, for example, here. If you use perform, it will right click. If you use perform, it will move the element. So this perform must be used after actions class. Okay, perform is mandatory. How about the build? There is a build also function. In some of them, we can use build for all of them. For example, we can use build here. Build perform, build perform. We can do that as well. So build is making that chain more stronger. And build is used especially when there are multiple functions. For example, click and hold. We are holding with click and hold function. Move to element. We are moving that source to the target. This is the second function. So we are using this click and hold, move to element function as a chain. So we are chaining those elements. If you use multiple function, especially it is making the connection stronger. Build perform. Build perform can be used for all of them. Okay, so that is what actions is. So actions are pretty much used for right click, double click, hover over, scroll up, scroll down. And there are many ways. You can press tab, enter, etc. with actions class. But to keep it simple and understandable, we will just give some examples. Okay, let's open our framework. Okay. Framework, and this is the framework that we started. Let's see if I pushed the code yesterday. Yeah. Let me push the final code from yesterday. It looks like I have some missing code. Okay. So let's create a new future file. As always, we will start with our test scenario 09 underscore actions.feature. And I'm going to put here feature keyword, and this will be kind of actions feature and scenario test case 1. So first of all, I would like to show you the manual use case. Then we are going to do the test case. Let me share a link with you. Okay, there it is. So we are going to work on that link today. Okay, by the way, you can use this jQueryui.com for some automation practice purpose. There are, some web element. For example, checkboxes, you can use that element for practice purpose. There are some interesting sortable, selectable, resizable. You can try testing. For example, how do you resize some elements, right? But we are going to work on our droppable, this one right here, this use case. In here, what we will do is, by default, that element is here. There are two elements. We are going to move one over the other. So what we will do is, we are going to hold this element and move it over here. And there are many ways to do that. We are going to hold it and move it over here, just like that. For that, we can use actions because in normal Selenide, there is no way that you can get this one and put it here. So we will use actions function to hold it and drop. We can do hold and drop. Or there is a drag and drop function. We can just move it from here to here. So there is one thing in this case, we need to locate this source and move it into the target, okay? Locate the source and move it into the target. Let's do it. I'm going to locate these elements. The first one has ID draggable, and the second one has ID droppable. So let's locate this page object first in our page class. Where is my page class? Under Java pages. Test page. Right, let's locate this under page. This will be actions, pages, public, Selenide element, source is equal to that source has an ID, so I will use ID. ID is draggable. And there is one more element, that is the target. Target. By ID. Droppable. There we go. So these are the two elements. Let me share from chat. Now we located our elements. So we are going to right now create our test case. Let's create our test case. So the scenario name will be, let's say here, actions. Given, we have to go to the page first. Navigate. Navigate where? Navigate the link that I shared with you, jQuery UI droppable. For that, put it in here. Okay, so this is navigation. This is navigation. Then, okay, so we talked about iframe yesterday. And this looks like right here, there is an iframe. So I can see that from here. It looks like there is a page within a page. There is a high chance of iframe. Let's check to make sure if there is an iframe or not on the page. Otherwise, we cannot do anything with these elements. We have to get into the iframe first. Let me search for frame. Yeah, there is an iframe here. Okay, this kind of this box outside of that element. There is an iframe that has the HTML tag, head tag, body, and those draggable item and droppable element, they are on inside the iframe. So we must switch to the iframe first. And the good news is, and by it looks like this is the first iframe, and index will be 0. The good news is we already know how to switch to iframe from yesterday. And another good news is we don't need to create any Java code. Remember, the beauty of Cucumber is once you create some reusable code, you can reuse it again and again. It is like the power of Cucumber steps. I'm going to use this method to switch to the 0 iframe. So let's do that. And I switch to frame 0. As you see, we are not, if I say here something like if I change this number, since it is parameterized, you see, that is the behind the code. I switch to the frame, and it is gonna switch to the index that you are giving. Okay, so this is switching to the first frame. Perfect. Then I will need to write a new step. Then let's say and when I drag the source in the target, then let's say, yeah, I will show you screenshot in a minute, but we can do it later on. So let's just verify this, just drag and drop and see if we are able to drag and drop the element. Okay, let me share this feature file. Usually in this kind of test cases, we can take a screenshot at the end. But here, we created a new step. So yesterday, one of our friends asked me, why we are not using this create step definition, because I am used to using runner to create step definition. But you can also hover over this option right here. Okay, right, when you hover over it. So since this is like grayed out a little bit, this option will be appearing when you create it. You can create the step definition. Okay, but I will just use the runner again. So for those of you who are new, you may get confused. So I'm going to just use the traditional generation of new step. I will say here actions tag. Okay, I used actions tag at the top, and I will use my runner as I always do. Now I will run actions tag true. I will just generate the missing step definition. Okay, so here is my new step definition. When I drag the source into the target, I will copy this step definition. And I will put it in my test page step definition. This is the actions step definition. I just put here a note that this is about actions. Okay, let me share this actions as well. This is the template. So now we are going to use the code, Java code here. So we will talk a little bit about on this method. So there are many ways to drag and drop an element into the target. But more importantly, how do you interact? How do you drag and drop one element from one place to another? So we use actions function, right? This one function right here, actions function. When you write actions function, if you did not import this actions static actions class, then in that case, you still have to use actions dot, okay, actions dot. You still have to use actions dot, but action. Yeah, you have to import that action dot, but here I will just simply use, because our goal is not to make things harder. Our goal is to make things simpler. Simply, I will be able to use this method as long as I import the static method right here. So just hover over it and then select that option, import static method, com, codeborn, Selenide actions, the actions function right here. Okay. So now you should see this static import in here, like how we used switch to yesterday, switch to frame, switch to window, etc. Because we just use this static import. So when you use static import, you don't need to, even we could have import this static import here. So we don't need to use WebDriver runner, Selenide element, etc. For example, if we did not import that static, what we had to do is, so here, Selenide dot actions, okay? Normally, this is what it is. Or Selenide dot switch to, okay? Or Selenide dot, they are all coming from Selenide library. And you locate those elements, something like this, okay? For example, by dot name, and give the name of the element. So we don't need to, we simply ignore these classes right here, Selenide class, because we did static import. Normally, we can do like this, okay? Selenide dot, for example, we put some sleep function, right? If you want to put some hard sleep, if you want to wait 5 seconds, you can put 5,000 in here, and back, forward, open, even open function, right? Selenide open function, for example, https google.com. So we just used open function. We did not say Selenide.open because we imported static, and that is recommended by Selenide documentation. Selenide is asking us in that document that I showed earlier, yesterday or the other day. It is telling us to import this Selenide, import static Selenide function. So your job can be easier. You don't need to call Selenide again and again. For example, here, even if we imported static WebDriver runner, we would have just called this function like that. So you don't have to call those static classes. You can, but you don't have to. For that reason, going back to our topic, you don't have to say Selenide.action. You just say action because we imported these actions from Selenide class. And if you are wondering, sometimes, you may want to see where it is coming from, just click command and click on this. It will take you to these actions that is coming from all the way this Selenide class. Okay, so that's why we are importing this Selenide class, static import. When we do static import, we can have access to those static methods. Okay? And this Selenide class has everything that we are using so far. For example, open function takes you to the URL, and there are some alternatives here. Okay, so you can just take a look at it when you have time. So for example, we will use today some explicit wait. Then we will also get into that a little bit. Okay, close driver, close app driver. These are all refresh, back, forward. This is the first thing that we learned, and they're all coming from Selenide. But since we did the import, static import, we don't need to say Selenide dot refresh. Just say refresh. That's it. It will automatically come from Selenide anyway. Okay. So that is the power of static import. You don't need to use the name of the class. You can just class by the method name. Okay. So action start. What we want to do is we want to drag and drop. So there are many ways to do that. I'm going to use drag and drop function, drag and drop. And this drag and drop wants you to enter a source and a target. And both of them should be a web element. And we already created our source, Techpro test page. dot source, comma, test page dot target. So the first parameter is source. The second parameter is target. What this does is this is gonna hold the source, hold it, and move it into the target destination. Of course, this is not gonna work unless we use perform function. But to make it stronger, make a strong connection, we use build perform. Right here. Sometimes it's more readable. You can do that. This one right here. Moving source to target. This build and perform, okay, these two required. Actually, this perform is required to execute. To execute the command. This function to execute the commands. This is making the connection a bit stronger. Let's see if it is working. I am going to run the function from the runner, making this try run false. Let's run that actions class. So I'm expecting to move the source into the target. Okay, waiting, still waiting. Let's see. Happened. One more time. I want to actually not, I don't want to close the browser to see that if we are able to move or not. I don't want to close the browser. So let me add also then I hold the browser open. Let me hold the browser open as well. I want to see what is wrong with that. Okay, a method we should write and switch to frame one because method we says. Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah. The method we said was frame -1. Yeah, let's debug it. Yeah, it is failing because let's see why it is failing. Nothing wrong with failing. So when something fails, we observe, we read, we fix it. This is part of our job. We are not scared of failure. We know what to do. So here, let's read it. Looks like there is a problem in 190, 118. It says invalid argument ID. So it says pretty much, guys, the element is not found. Okay, the element is not found. Invalid argument. So we said, right, the iframe was on the page, and let's see. So you are saying, yeah, switch to the frame 0. We said frame 0, then it will try to do 0 minus 1, which is -1. There is no -1 index. That is the problem that we did. So we remember yesterday we designed it in a way that we use counting numbers. Yeah, this will switch to the first frame. Perfect. Yeah, thank you. So now let's run one more time. Now the switch should be successful, and as you see, we are able to move our source into the target just like that. It is pretty much the failure was the iframe again, and if there's an iframe, yeah, it is possible to do some due diligence on that. There was an iframe. I put index of 1 to switch to the first frame because these target and source is inside the iframe. If you don't get into the iframe, it will fail. Okay, so the first one is this, right? This is working fine. What options we have? I just want you to see some other options. Okay, this is one. Or we can also use these actions. We can hold one element and move to the other place. Okay, hold the source and move onto the target. So let's see, hold, click and hold. We will click and hold our target, sorry, our source. We will click and hold our source, test page, that's source. And then you click hold and then move the element to your target. Test page, that target. Right, so and hold, move to the target, as always, build, perform. Okay, build, perform. So what this does is, this is gonna do the same thing. It is gonna hold your, it is gonna hold our source and move it into the target. Let's test this one. I will share this one as well. There you go. So we are expecting to hold, yeah, it is just holding our source, moving into the target. With the second way, it is just fine. So one more different way is, okay, it is not gonna hurt us to know different methods. This is also used to move the elements, to interact with the elements, like with Selenide. And last one is it's a little bit different. Or we can move using specific. You can move to the specific coordinates. So we can move the target, move the source to specific coordinates. And so let's see, actions that there is a drag and drop by. There is a drag and drop by function. It want us to pass a source and then put X coordinate and Y coordinate. Okay. So let's see that, how it works. We need to get a source, page source first. And we need to move it, for example, one by one, just as an example, dot build, dot perform. But those coordinates should be, a valid coordinate. So, for example, if we run this one, it may not move anywhere that is outside of the range, because this website right here, this website, we can move that element, anything inside this iframe, no problem. Okay, but if the coordinate is in here, you cannot move this in here. You cannot move this, for example, here, but you can move it here, 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 even here. No issue, even this corner right here. So for that, we need to do a little bit HTML observation, with just a little bit knowledge is enough for that. Look at what happens in here. Look what happens in here. Style right here. Okay. Especially this one. Oh, especially this one and this one, right? Look what happens when I move the element. So I am trying to move the element, or it is left, but here you see the 3991, or here 280, 286, 149, 376, 66. So these are the coordinates, X and Y coordinates. Okay, this is left and right. This is up and down. This is X coordinate. This is Y coordinate. So we can move it like this. We cannot move it outside in here, right? We cannot do that, but we can move it all the way to the left or right, no problem. For example, I want to move it like this or something like that. Well, I want to just touch the corners, okay, like this. Then I will put the X coordinate as 305, Y coordinate as 167. 167. So 305 by 167. Let's try it. 305, 167. 305, 167. What happened to my IntelliJ? After I upgrade my IntelliJ, it keeps bugging like that. Let me open one more time. Here, 305, 167. Right, so let's go here, here. One six seven. Yeah, 305, 167. So I want to just move in that coordinate. Of course, I have to use build and perform, or just simply perform is enough. So this is gonna move that element in this coordinates. Let me run it. So we don't have to write any pixel or anything like that. This is gonna automatically understand that where we are trying to move. It is gonna take the pixels already. So let's put it. Let's run it. Run my test case. You see right here. So we are able to move our element into the destination. The corners are touching right here. Okay? So it is pretty much what it is. We can use multiple different way. We can use multiple way to move one element into a specific destination, just like that. Let me know if there's any question from the chat. Okay. So one more use case would be, I just want to show you how to just move the element. There are many different things here, but I just want to show you how to move the page up and down the simplest way. So let's create one more scenario right here. Scenario, test case 02, actions again. Now I want to go to Techpro Education. Let's go to our website. Let's see, for example, test center. Let's go to test center. Let's go here. Okay. So now what we want to do is we just want to move the page down a little bit like this. Okay, just move the page down. For example, there are some here elements that you cannot see. You want to move the page down. You can do that with actions very quickly. So for that, we need to write a step. First, let's go to Techpro Education, so testcenter.com. Given I navigate to here, and I scroll the page down. So I can make this reusable. For example, I can make this down or up using like that. We can get into the reusable method, but let's simply try to focus on the core content like this. So our goal is to get the functionalities. So I'm gonna just create a new step like this, and we will see how to move the page down. And let's generate the step definition. Dry run. True. I'm gonna get this step definition and move it in the page. So again, all I have to do is just use actions dot. So we can scroll. We can use scroll the page. Okay, scroll the page. But I also want you to see the send keys function. Okay, send keys. Send keys dot page down. Okay, page down or arrow down. This is just like in Selenium. We can use page down or arrow down. Again, there are different ways to do scrolling in Selenide as well. We can use JavaScript executor, but we can use also actions, etc. But now we are just going to use scroll down function or arrow down function. I'm going to say, page down or arrow down. I'm going to say page down, build, perform. So what this does is this will move the page just a little bit down. Not much, a few pixels. Share this with you. This is especially helpful if you want to see some elements on the page. Okay, yeah, test page link is here. The link, there you go. Let's run it. I will make the try run true, false. Let's run it and see if we are able to move the screen a little bit down. Okay, this is the first test case. This is just about drag and drop. This is the second test case. We are going to the page. As you see, the page is moved down a little bit, like this much. So from here to here, so it is just moving the screen size down. So page 1, page 2. So this page down can be used. Also, we can use arrow down as well. Let's quickly also add it. Okay, page down. Or to move a little bit, like less. We use actions dot send keys dot arrow down. We can do arrow down or arrow up to move. We can even move right and left, but I just want to move a bit down here. Build, perform. Okay, this is the methods. All right, second page. Okay, so it is moving. As you see, like it is moving faster. We can maybe put some weight in between right here to see the flow right here. So we can say, and I wait for 3 seconds. So actually this is not gonna work because we put both of the scrolls in here. So we can do a little bit, more the whole page down, or we can do a little bit less with this action. So if you want to move the page up, arrow up, page right, you want to move page right, use right, left, use this. This is same as in Selenium, but here this is shorter. You don't have to use again actions class. Just move the methods, call the methods, and go from there. All right, so yeah, that is good enough for now. With this, again, actions class is a little bit large topic, but I think you got the point. The difference between Selenium and Selenide actions is, in Selenium, we have to create actions object. In Selenide, we just call these actions from the static Selenide plus. And when we use actions dot, we can see all of the options that is possible. Drag and drop, right click, double click, move over element, page down, page up, etc. So that's it for actions. That's all I want to say with actions, simply. Now we can give a break. Maybe let's give a 10-minute break. After the break, we will talk about explicit wait in Selenide. Okay, so we will get into that. But first, let's give 10 minutes break. Come back at, let's come back at 12:20. It is a 12 minutes break. Central. Okay, after the break, we will talk about the waits. Right, so welcome back. Let's continue. This is the second session and last session of today. We are going to talk about the explicit wait in Selenide. So first of all, when we try to automate the web pages in UI applications, there are a few challenges that we can see. For example, there can be iframe, there can be alert, there can be multiple window. They are the reason of failing automation script. In that case, automation script can fail. Then, if there is an iframe, we need to learn we need to know how to fix, how to do adjustment, how to switch to the iframe. If there is an alert, how to switch to alert. If there is a multiple window, how to switch to multiple window. We should do that. We should learn and do whatever need to be done in that specific moment. So we have one more specific case, which is very, very common in automation of web application, whether it is Selenium, Selenide, C#, whatever framework you are using, especially when you try to automate the web pages, the UI, the front-end applications. In that case, it is very common that the test case can be or need to be added some weight, and we can add some weight that is implicit or hard weight, which is not hard weight especially not recommended, and because in that case you are putting extra weight. For example, we used one method right here, which is sleep method. Okay, in here, for instance, I wait for 5 seconds. All right, it's this one. Okay, this is going to put 5 seconds wait. If you put 5 seconds, no matter what, you have to. Let's say the driver needs just 1 second wait, but we are putting 5 seconds. Extra 4 seconds is necessary, and if you keep doing it for maybe 10 times, you see like lots of unrelated or unwanted wait. So that's why we should not use hard wait for synchronization. So that wait issue again can happen if the page is very slow, or if the internet connection is not good, or if the website is not created by a good latest technology. If the front-end technology is old, then it is a reason why your test case can fail, or why the page can be too slow. So in that case, we need to use some weight. Again, we need weight. Let's say here there is an application. This is our application. This is our page, and there is a button. There is a button here on the page, but that button is showing up, or that button is clickable in 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Okay, 5 seconds. That button is clickable in 5 seconds. This is a button here. And your driver, you want to click on that button with the driver. You want to click on that button. This is our driver. And you want to click on it, you want to click on that element. But that button is not clickable in 5 seconds. That is how it is designed. So the user has to wait 5 seconds. So the button is enabled and the button can be clickable. So this use case, what do? We can either use this hard wait sleep function, sleep 5 seconds and wait 5 seconds. It will be clickable. Then we can actually click on it. We will not get any exception. Or we can wait for specific element to be clickable using explicit wait, which is Selenide wait. We should use explicit wait in this kind of situation because explicit wait is dynamic. If you put here, wait for example, 20 seconds, just like that, or like this, the system is going to wait up to 20 seconds. It will not wait for 20 seconds if not needed. In this specific case, it will wait for the element to be clickable for 5 seconds. System is going to understand that the button is clickable. As soon as the button is clickable, driver is going to click on the button and move on. So it is very good. It is dynamic, and it is not making the test execution time more than enough or longer than enough. So explicit wait is a concept. Again, we are talking about very general knowledge. I'm not getting too much into detail, but overall, this is the logic. So it is about synchronization between the Selenide driver and the web elements. This Selenide driver and web elements should be synchronized. When the driver is here, driver is trying to click on it, try to click. If you don't put explicit wait, and if it is not clickable, then the test case will fail. We will get no such element exception or not interactable exception. But if we put this kind of default wait, if I put driver will come here and it will say knock knock, hey, try to click on it. Click once, not clickable, no problem. Come back later, click one more time, not clickable, no problem. So it will try it. It will try, and when the time is 5 seconds, this will be clickable. Then the system driver is going to click and move on. So it is just trying to click, trying to do one thing. If element is not there, it will keep waiting until it is clickable or until element is visible. In this kind of cases, explicit wait is good because explicit wait is given waiting up to a given default time. So in this case, driver is going to try to click or trying to find the element or locate the element up to 20 seconds. If the element is found within 20 seconds, it will find it and move on. If the element is not found within 20 seconds, it means there is a real problem, then system is gonna fail. This explicit wait is local wait. So this local wait means we can apply it to the button, we can apply it to a text, we can apply it to a drop-down element, we can apply it to any element that is existing on the pages. So specific elements such as drop-down, such as text box, such as input, etc. We can put in under specific condition. For example, element may not be visible for some reason. The page is very slow, the element is loading very slowly. Then element will not be visible, for example, for a certain period of time. Or the element is not clickable. In this example, I gave you this example. Element is not clickable in 5 seconds, then use explicit wait. Or there's a text, for example, there's a text here. That text is displayed also maybe in 10 seconds. When you go to the page, there is a text that will be displayed in 10 seconds. Or sometimes when you go to a page, there is a window pop-up. That pop-up is not going to be visible in 10 seconds. Then in that case, we should use explicit wait. So in Selenide, we can use either like Selenium way or Selenide way. Okay, so I will show you both. We have in Selenium, right? We have to use the WebDriver wait object. So when we say WebDriver wait object, WebDriver wait create a wait object, then we can use that wait object and put some condition, expected condition. There are many expected conditions, such as element not visible, not clickable, text not display, idle not visible, idle to match, etc. There are many explicit wait method, but you just need to know a few of them. That's enough, because one or two of them are very common. It can does. Some others already does. So it can do more than the others. So there are some specific use cases as well, but for example, visibility of method. This is very common. This will wait for an element to be visible on the page. So it is very useful function for explicit wait. Again, to summarize, 1, we need explicit wait if there is any synchronization problem. We need explicit wait if there is any wait problem. We need to use explicit wait if the page is very, very slow and the test case keep failing. That can be a wait issue. Right? And to use explicit wait, we can create a WebDriver wait object, give a default timeout. This is maximum timeout. In this example, it is 20 seconds. Then use that object until expected condition and put your condition here. So the system will wait for that specific element up to 20 seconds. The only difference between Selenium and Selenide is this section right here. So we are still using WebDriver runner, get WebDriver method to put some wait on that driver. This is way 1. The second way is specific to Selenide, which is good. In Selenide, for example, let's say we located this button. Okay, let's say this is the button. This button element, there's a button, and that button is not visible. Is not visible. In 5 seconds, we have to wait for 5 seconds. Then we should put condition should visible. Remember this one? We learned that. This is for using assertion. That should function actually takes the second parameter. We did not use it before. Now we are going to use it. That second parameter is used optionally. It is not mandatory, but optionally can be used for putting default or putting some default wait. So what this method does is wait for this element to be visible up to 20 seconds. Wait for this element to be visible up to 20 seconds. If the element is visible in 3 seconds, don't wait for the whole time. Just keep going. And this does the same thing, Selenium way. Wait for the element, wait for this element right here to be visible within 20 seconds, for 20 seconds. So same thing, this is way 1, this is way 2. I will show you both. If you are already a Selenium user, you will remember that. But this is new, which is cool and short and fast. So we will use both. Let's do it. So let's open our IntelliJ and open a new test case or a future file, create a new file. The name of the file will be 10 underscore explicit wait dot feature. Sure, and this is going to be explicit wait scenario, test case 1. Explicit wait. Let me get the link for you. Let's understand what we want to do. We want to okay. Okay, there we go. Let me share this link with you. We want to go to this link and just click on the start button. Start button, and it will wait for a couple seconds. This is a dynamic page, dynamic element. And we will verify if this element is displayed or the text is matching. So if the hello world message is displayed or not. We will do this case. And as you see, when you click start, it takes a couple seconds to load the hello world, to show us the hello world. We are not seeing it immediately. So that sounds like a problem. So by default, actually, let me also put that in the notes, in the slides. By default, Selenide waits for 4 seconds. Okay, this is the default wait time. In Selenium, it is less, but in Selenide, we have 4 seconds wait, 4 seconds. If more time needed, then use explicit wait. Okay? If more time needed, then use explicit wait. So it looks like there is more than 4 seconds. We need to wait in there, so we can use explicit wait. First of all, let's see. First of all, we are going to complete our future file. Given I navigate to this page, and I click on Start button. Then verify the hello world. Hello world text is displayed. Hello world text is displayed. Share this, and I will put a tag on this one. Explicit wait. Okay, and let's generate the step definition. Generating this missing step definition, do to step. Click Start button and verify the hello world text is displayed. Copy. And I will put that in my step definition. This will be about explicit wait. Okay. So we will click on the Start button. For that, we need to locate the Start button element. Refresh the page. Let's locate this Start button. This one is ID start. Okay, let's see. Div at ID equals start, and there is a button under that. So start. Yeah, this is the button. I will locate that by element by XPath. So we are going to locate that element in the test page. Right here. This is the explicit wait. Let's locate public. Select the element. Start button is equal to by that XPath here. Okay. Let me share this. In my step definition, I will just go to the test page and then start button, click. We will click on that start button. I put it in the wrong place. It should be right here. Click on the start button. Then verify hello world is displayed. So this is where we are going to focus on right now. So we just want to click on the start button. Okay, no problem, nothing wrong with that. But what if, how about verifying that hello world text that is displayed very slowly? How we can do it? So first of all, we did manual testing, right? We saw there might be some issue in here. There might be some issue in here, but let's say assume that we may not need any wait. So I'm gonna here locate that element by expert. So here div id finish, div id finish. Under finish we have h4 at the as a child h4. So this is the expert of that hello world right here. I'm gonna copy that. Let's locate that hello world as well in the page class. Public Selenide element hello world is equal to by expert. The expert of that hello world is right here. Let me share this. And our goal is to verify the text is matching, to verify if the text is matching. Okay. So watch what will happen. Let me close all of the open tabs. Okay. So I want to just print test page dot hello world dot get text. So, okay, I want to just print, and I'm expecting that to show me that this hello world text. So let's see if we are able to print that hello world or not. So I just want to see if the hello world text is displayed properly on the page. If it is displayed properly on the page, I will see this hello world text. Let me go to runner and run my test case. This explicit wait tag. All right, we are on the page. What is good with Selenide, by the way, is it waits for 4 seconds. By default, it is a good advantage. It is gonna taking care of the minor issues. Happened. Okay, let me run one more time. Okay. So yeah, let me do one thing here. I will just try to print that. So here, the text is this. Okay, so let me do that. So text. I'm just trying to see if my text is visible as hello world or not. Let me do that. If the page is loading properly, if the element is loading properly, then we should see hello world with no issue. Okay, clicking start. Okay, clicking start, guys, look what happens right here. Click start, but text is what? Text is what? Do I see hello world here? This is blank. This is blank. So what I was expecting is I was expecting to see hello world, but it is not giving me hello world. Let's do assertion to make sure, it is there is an issue here for sure, but let's see if our assertion works in this case. So what I will do is assert dot assert equals my expected text is hello world. The actual text is test page, hello world, get text. Okay. Whatever the text is should be equal to hello world. Right? Let me comment this out for now and then run one more time. Click on start. Okay. The test case is failed. And the reason is expected is hello world, but the actual is not visible. And the reason is, guys, this is what we call the wait issue or synchronization issue. Because the element is there, but it is not there on time. For that reason, what we need to do is we need to put some explicit wait. And how we can do it, right? So here I'm going to put this, okay, fails with no wait. So the solution would be, we can put hard-coded. For example, I can say right here after click start button, and I wait for maybe 10 seconds. Let's wait for 10 seconds. Okay, that we used before. That can help. Let's see. So system is gonna click on start. We will click on the start. We are waiting. The reusable method we created will wait for 10 seconds though. 10 seconds. Do we need 10 seconds? No. But this will wait for 10 seconds. This is hard code. Did it solve the problem? Let's see. Did it solve the problem? Yes, it solved. The test case passed. But let me run one more time. Okay, one more time. Click on start, wait for 10 seconds. But that 10 seconds is more than enough. And we cannot say 5 for 4, 5. We cannot just do an exact estimation. So we will wait more or less extra here. Maybe we can put 6 seconds, 7 seconds, but still extra 1 second is also too much. 1 second is too much in automation secret, because if you create 100 extra 1 seconds, it is making a couple minutes, which is too much for test execution. But this is good. This test case passed, as you see, but this is hard coded. We should not do that normally. Then what do we do? I will remove this. Okay, this fixes issue, but hard coded. So now what we should do is we should wait for that element implicitly. Okay, we should wait for that element implicitly. So we can do either reusable method, but since it takes some time, I will just do it here. Maybe tomorrow I'm planning to talk about the reusable method a little bit. But today, just let's go straight forward to see how explicit wait is used. Guys, as I said, to fix the issue, the best option is explicit wait. because it is dynamic. It will not put extra weight. So there are two ways. Way one is to use, to handle with WebDriver weight plus. Okay, so how do we do it? We use WebDriver weight. WebDriver weight is coming from Selenium. Again, we can use Selenium and Selenide with each other. They are perfectly fine, perfectly working good. That's why we are learning Selenide and Selenium together. One is not complete alternative to the other. They are both working together really nice. For that reason, you can use Selenium content or Selenide content. Selenide content usually advanced and shorter. Okay, and usually better. So we create with the WebDriver weight object, just like this. WebDriver weight. This WebDriver weight is accepting. In Selenium, it will accept WebDriver, your driver. It will accept your WebDriver. But in Selenide, we just say get active driver. Okay. Actually, in fact, we did not import that static, I think. Yeah, let's do this. Let's use WebDriver runner. Okay. WebDriver runner. Okay, this is our driver class. That get active driver. We will apply the default timeout by using duration of. We can put here duration of seconds. Of duration of seconds. We can put some, millisecond, nanosecond, hours, days. You can even rate the 2-day wait on the Selenium, you see. But we just need maybe 20 seconds, maybe 20 seconds wait. Let's put by default. Okay, this will wait up to 20 seconds. And then we can wait for that element. Wait for that element until expected condition. Expected condition. So there are expected condition and conditions. We should use plural one, expected conditions. This expected conditions, there are many expected conditions. So if it is an alert, you can wait for the alert to be present, to do some assertion with the title or to match the text. You can use all these, but one of the common one is visibility. Visibility off. Visibility off. This is very common. Visibility off. Which element we are waiting to be visible completely? This is the problem element, right? Element is hello world. Hello world element. We will wait for that element to be completely visible up to 20 seconds. Done. Then we can put assertion. Assert that. Assert equals. Now we can use this one. This one was failing. Now we will do one more time. Okay, this was failing. Fail. Now let's see if this fails or pass after this explicit wait. This is explicit wait. We are waiting for that element to be completely visible. Then again, we can put different condition, but here this should be fine. Let me share this. Let me share the entire step definition class from the chat. Running the test case. Okay, so now on the page, click on start. Now you see it is waiting more. compared to the normal weight. Now the test case is passed right here. Okay, the test case is now passed. This is the logic of explicit weight, which is very, very important in UI application. If a tester is doing API testing or database testing, the weight is not, still we need some weight, we might need some weight, but not as much. In UI, one of the challenging things is to take care of the synchronization issue, because web pages created by HTML element and some other technology, and the data is coming from the database sometimes, right? In that case, there are some slowness in the page. To fix that, we use explicit weight. This is one thing. This is passed, no problem. Okay, this pass. Second, this is one thing. Let me know if you have any question at any point. Okay, if there is no question, I will just keep going. Next one is way 2, which is now new, compared to Selenium. We can, use Selenide weight. For instance, Selenide weight. Okay. For instance, the same thing can be done without creating any WebDriver weight object. How we can do it? We can use test page. We can get that hello world element, and we can say should visible or condition.visible. Okay, condition. Again, this condition, we should use condition because we did not do static import here. Condition dot visible. Okay, visible. This is just doing normal assertion with no weight. This will not wait. Okay, this will not wait for that element to be visible. This will just check at that point if the element is visible or not. Okay. So we need to, we can put right here duration dot of seconds. Now we can put 20. What this does is, this is gonna wait for that element to be visible up to 20 seconds. This will also help the elements to be visible. As you see, it is very easy to use some explicit conditions for specific web elements. So we are putting some condition for the element to be visible up to 20 seconds. Normally, people don't use explicit weight or are scared of explicit weight in Selenium because you have to create object, you have to use some condition, etc. But with Selenide, it is way easier to use. Let's try, I did not try if this works or not so far. Let's try it. For now, let's see if this pass or fail. Okay. Let's see if this pass or fail. The first one was failing. The second one, after the explicit weight, it passed. Now let's see if this pass or fail. Okay, click on start. There we go. The system passed just fine. Okay, the system just fine. This is pretty much what it is. I am going to just here show you one more time what we just did. This one is right here, is used for explicit weight to add some extra weight to the element. Okay, this is the Selenide way. Again, we can just use simply, we can use this visible one right here. Okay, right here, just visible. But in that case, we need to do static import, just like that, no problem. Or we can say condition dot visible. Okay, but either one is fine. And also, let me also add this here, just like this. We can just use that doing after static import. Or this is what explicit wait is. In Selenide, it is easier to use. So usually this is like normally to be able to do this with normal Selenium, we have to use some reusable method. So it will be simpler. But here in Selenide, we don't need to create a reusable method because it is already simple enough. All we have to do is get the element and check if that element is visible or not. Again, tomorrow I am planning to use reusable method, how an automation tester or an STAT can make the code shorter, faster with reusable logic. And we will try to write some Java reusable method using the content that we already learned. For example, we keep doing the same thing again and again. So we can write a method, for example, that can accept a web element, and that element can be used to make this code shorter. So tomorrow we will talk about that reusability, but today we are just going topic by topic, just like that. Okay, so that is pretty much it with explicit wait. Let me know if there is any question, or else we will go to one last topic and we will finish the class. Right. Okay. Last topic that I want to show you today is the screenshots, taking screenshots, right? So we are done with keyboard actions. We are done with explicit wait. Taking screenshots. Taking screenshots. Let me also add the document here. Screenshots. So guys, taking screenshots. So we can take a screenshot in automation script to prove that everything is working just fine. But let me add here screenshots. But in Selenide, there is already something is going on. So far, we have been taking screenshot. You may not be aware of it, but by default, Selenide captures the screenshots. But when Selenide takes the screenshots and saves it, there is a folder that we will check in a minute, saves it in the build. And under build, there is a, I think reports, it should be reports folder. When it happens, only when test case fails, which is very, very good. So Selenium does not do it. Selenium requires a method that will capture the screenshot. For example, in Cucumber with Selenium, you have to use hooks to add this logic. Whenever a scenario fails, capture the screenshot. Hooks does it in Cucumber. In TestNG, you have to use listeners, TestNG listeners, to capture screenshot when the test cases fails. In Selenide, no setup required. Nothing required. You don't have to write any single code. But it should fail. The test case fails, then you will see the screenshot. Guys, you see right here in build, there is a build. Right here, there's a build folder. Let me take it red. And under build, there is a reports. So some of our test case failed so far, right? Have been failing so far. Under that, there are some screenshots attached, that PNG files, PNG. Okay. So for example, this one has the iframe failure. Yesterday we did some iframe. This one looks like failed when we work on radio button. This one failed when we have again radio. Okay, failed a lot in radio buttons. Okay, for example, this one looks like failed when we do the search, Tesla search, do some assertion. So this HTML are you just don't worry about the HTML files. It is just a way to generate the screenshots and to give you some information about the web page. So what this does is, if a test case fails, the system takes the HTML source of the page, okay, at that point, and also the system takes the screenshot of the page. Actually, this HTML is not important for us. You know, we already have the HTML in the page, HTML source of the page in the page. This is not useful, but what is useful is the screenshot. When the test case fails, system captures the screenshot. Okay, when the test case fails, system captures the screenshot. This is the default behavior. Okay, that is the default behavior. By default, Selenide captures the screenshots and save it to build report folder only when the test case fails. In addition to this, but first, let me show you one thing. Okay, let's create a test case to observe that. I will delete this report folder. I will delete the build folder. I delete that. I'm deleting it. I'm deleting it. And I will just run my runner. Okay. If the test case will pass, if the test case passes, I will not see the screen in that folder. The folder will still be generated, but there will not be any screenshot under. All right, so let's wait for this test case. If the test case pass, it's test case passed, build, there is no screenshot folder, report folder. But if the test case fails, then I will see screenshot under. For example, let me make this fail. I just make this test case fail on for a purpose. I just delete that exclamation mark right here. And let me run the runner. Where did my IntelliJ go? IntelliJ quit again. Let me open my IntelliJ. Okay. Open my IntelliJ. I was trying to show you, if the test case fails, then system Selenide will capture the screenshot. Let me run one more time. And in Selenide, there are many jar files, the libraries. It is taking some time to resolve those jar files. So that's why we are going to wait a few seconds. Okay. So it will be taking screenshot when the test case fails. And in Selenide, we can capture the screenshot of the whole page if the test case doesn't fail or fail, so at any point. Plus, we can also take a screenshot of specific elements with Selenide. I will show you both of them in a minute. So let me run this test case. I hope the IntelliJ doesn't break this time. Okay, click on start. Waiting for the test case, waiting for that element. And the test case failed. Okay, test case failed. Okay, let me see. Let me refresh. Okay, let me check just a second. Okay, so let me do one more thing. I will just run some other test case to save some time. Okay, for example, I will run this test case. Let's see. Normally, I was expecting to generate, and as you know, Selenide is sometimes stuck in my case. But let's say this one is gonna fail. Okay, this one is gonna fail, something like that. This is gonna fail. So I'm gonna run this assertions. Okay, let me run this assertion. Okay, just a second. Let me fix the issue. I will not do that. I will just use the existing one so we don't get confused. Don't change anything yet. Okay, don't change anything. Let me see. This failed. Okay, let me use this just a second. So test page dot hello world dot should condition dot text is, for example, fake test. I will try this one just a second. Okay, but this will fail. Let me run one more time. I'm just running the runner one more time for the explicit wait. I just added one condition that will fail. So as of now, I don't see any screenshot in my build folder. Let's wait for that. On this page, waiting for the hello world. The test case failed because I just made it fail on purpose due to the screenshot generation. Okay, let me see right here. Okay, I will go over one more time, guys. I did this to fail on purpose. Okay, this is gonna fail on purpose, and I used Selenide should function. I thought I used here Selenide, but we used JUnit. Sorry, yeah, JUnit assertion. This is a Selenide assertion. Okay, this failed because this text of the hello world is not equal to fake test. It is hello world. This is gonna fail on purpose. When this kind of Selenide assertion fails, then we see the screenshot taken, right? And we can check why it failed or what. What is the reason? So actually, in this case, again, if we use Selenide assertion, and if that should have, should not have, should be, should not be, those, when you use them as an assertion, if they fail, system is gonna take the screenshot automatically. Okay. But we can disable this feature. Okay. Let me summarize so far. By default, Selenide captures the screenshot and saves it here, right here. Save it, this folder, when the test case fails. Okay. This rule is valid for Selenide assertions, such as so we learned Selenide assertions a while ago. Let me get those. Such as, right, this. Okay, should be, should have, should not have, etc. Such as should be, should exist. Okay. Should have, should not have. Okay, so this is important note that we should be aware of. Right? Otherwise, the Selenium assertions already will not take a screenshot. That's why the Selenide added this feature for these assertions. If something fails, for example, if this fails, then capture screenshot. If it passes, the system will not capture the screenshot. However, we can disable this feature. Okay, we can disable this feature. Let me add that note. We can disable this feature. It means we don't take a screenshot when the test case fails. For that, we can use configuration dot screenshot equals false. Okay. If we use that, for example, when we have a test base or when we have a base class or reusable method, you can disable that screenshot, taking screenshot capability in that configuration dot screenshot equals false functionality. By default, okay, by default, this configuration dot screenshot is equal to true. How can I use that? Okay, how can I use it? Let me show you how to use it. So guys, I will delete this build. Okay, I will delete this folder to make sure that system is not gonna create a screenshot if I use configuration dot feature. For example, let me create any feature file for any step for that reusable step, or we can use here somewhere in that test class. So for that, I just want to have a reusable method. I'm going to here, say right here, and I set configuration dot screenshot to false, right? By default, it is true. If you make it false, screenshot, the configuration of screenshot to false. So let's create this kind of reusable method. And in that case, the we are just gonna do configuration dot screenshot equals false in that reusable method. And whenever we just don't want to take a screenshot, when the test case fails, we can use that. Of course, this is a good feature. There is no reason not to take it. But I'm just showing you that this is an option for us. It's gonna go here. By the way, so guys, for example, that is a reusable step definition. So I'm gonna create a reusable step definition right here, and I will call it common step definitions. Okay, common step definitions. It means it is not specific to a specific page, right? It is not specifically for Google. It is not specifically for Techpro. It is not specifically for test page. It is just a common feature file like reusable method. For that, I'm going to add that functionality in here. And I will say configuration, and it is coming from Selenide. Make sure you take it from Selenide. That screenshot is equal to false. Okay, this is just will not take the screenshot even if test case fails. Again, there is no reason we should do that. This is a good feature. But if for some reason you want to disable that capability, you can do it. Let me share this class. Okay. So I will run this fail test case one more time. All right, test case is running. The test case is failed. Okay, test case is failed. So this one is failed. So let's see. So the HTML is there, but the screenshot is not there anymore. So if you don't see the screenshot, the test case, the screenshot is not there anymore. So that is what it is. Yeah, just the HTML is there. Again, this is a good functionality and we should always keep it true, but for some reason you can do that. Okay, this is one thing. By default, Selenide capture screenshot if you are using Selenide assertions, which is perfect. At the same time, we can disable that functionality. We just created a reusable method to disable that functionality. Next, we can also create a reusable method. Okay, we can create a reusable method, or we can capture the screenshot of the entire page anytime with reusable step. We can also capture the screenshot of specific elements anytime with reusable step. Okay, reusable step. This is you know, a good feature because we don't need to wait for the test case to fail, this is gonna capture the screenshot by default if the test case fails. But what if I wanna take a screenshot at the end of each scenario, which we should, because taking a screenshot is an important documentation for the reporting purpose. We are going to capture the screenshot. Let's do it. Please create a new file and name it 11 screenshots.feature. Screenshots.feature. Screenshots.feature, and we will write a feature file. Screenshots. This scenario. Entire page. We will write a method to take a screenshot of the entire page. So let's go to, for instance, given I navigate to techproeducation.com. Okay, we will go to this page, and I capture the screenshot of the page. Okay, let's say here, screenshot of page, screenshot page. Let me share this. Screenshot of the page. I'm going to generate the step definition real quick from the runner. So, and we are going to write a method that will take a screenshot of the page. Okay, this is my reusable step. Guys, I will put it in my common step definition right here. It is making sense that we can use those, the method that is reusable, like not page specific. Taking screenshot also is not page specific. We can take a screenshot anytime at any point. How I can take a screenshot? How I can take a screenshot? Simply call screenshot method that is going to take a screenshot. Okay, screenshot method. Actually, we can use Selenide plus to take a screenshot, Selenide dot screenshot. But we can simply use that static import. We can do static import. Okay, we just static import from Selenide and then take a screenshot. And it is letting us to add some string right here. Okay, we can give a name of the screenshot. For example, page screenshot. Okay, page screenshot. But guys, this is gonna overwrite the existing script. This is gonna overwrite the actually existing images, because let's say you use this one, it's saved here with this name. You run it one more time with the same name, it will save. So it will overwrite. So what we need to do is we need to give a dynamic name, and we can use Java for that. So I will say here, new. Okay. Let me give a dynamic name, new date from Java, new date dot to string. So giving a dynamic name. So since there is no to date will be the same, the name of the screenshot will always be different, so that each and every single image will not override each other. Again, we can use Selenide dot screenshot and my screenshot, something like that. Or simply just use that method. Let me share this. I put that in my reusable common step definition because we can use those step definition anytime. In fact, we could have put like this navigation step definition on that common step definition. We could have put this in that common step definition. These are all common step definition, but for now, let's keep going. Okay. So now we created a new step definition. I am going to run my runner. Right and false. Let's run it and see if the screenshot is being taken. Okay, system will capture the screenshot of this visible page. Okay, test case passed. Even though test case passed, I see the screenshot is taken and attached to the same folder under test, under build reports. There is a screenshot folder right here, and it is taken. And I will double click and see that the screenshot of the page is taken. Whatever we see, Selenide will capture the screenshot of that screen. You see, we see this pop-up, we see this messages and etc. And Selenide is taken. If you notice that the test case did not fail, even though it did not fail, we are able to take a screenshot with that reusable method. That is one thing. The second thing is, and the last thing I will show you today is, we can capture the screenshot of specific elements. Okay, we capture the screenshot of the entire page, but we can also capture the screenshot of specific elements, such as this pop-up only here. This pop-up. Let's see. Let me go to Techpro. I'll go to this page. So for example, we can just capture the screenshot of this image, of this pop-up, not the entire screen. Or we can capture a screenshot of the, for example, of the social media icons, of the links, of the images. So I'm going to locate this element first. Okay, ID. There is an ID here. See, yeah. So I will locate this element by ID, which is right here. I hope you see the same thing. But again, if you don't see, you can locate any element you want on any page. Just locate one element. I will locate this element by ID. So Techpro test page. Yeah, I will just do test page in that one. So here, a screenshot. I will locate the element public, Selenide element. That is, what is the name of that element? We can give upcoming programs. Okay, upcoming programs is equal to by that ID. The ID of that element is here. Okay, so I located the ID of the element. I located the element by ID just like that. Then I will capture the screenshot of that element, for instance. And okay, let's say the second scenario. This is element screenshot. Again, I will go to the Techpro education one more time. And then in this case, I capture the screen shot of the programs pop-up. And I capture the screenshot of programs pop-up. Again, you can capture the screenshot of a specific element, like it can be a pop-up, it can be maybe you can close this window and you can capture a screenshot of the search box, you can capture a screenshot of this phone number. All you have to do is locate the element and then follow the remaining steps. Let me generate this missing step definition. Okay. This screen, the element is the step definition is generated. I will copy that and then put it in my step definition. I will put it in Techpro add step definitions right here. Okay, right here. This is screenshot of programs. Elements. We will take screenshot of the element. So how do we do, guys? We will call the element that you want to take a screenshot of. Which element do you want to take a screenshot? I want to take a screenshot of that pop-up. So test page. Okay, let me create here the test page object. We did not create it yet. Test page is equal to new test page. I will go to the test page and then get the upcoming programs. Upcoming programs. So let's put dot. We don't want to click on that upcoming programs element. We don't want to click on, we don't want to do verification. We don't want to get the text. What we want to do is we want to take screenshot. Okay, screenshot. You can get the screenshot. It will automatically capture the screenshot and save it the same place. I will take a screenshot. Okay. I will take a screenshot of that by just using this step definition. Let me share this entire Techpro step definitions. I will run. Okay. So the test case is done. Everything is passed. So now let's see if we are able to capture the screenshot of that specific element. Hold on, where did it save? Okay. Okay, let me see where it's saved, that element. Let me check just a second. Let me close everything. Okay, so now we are able to run that and captures pop-up. Why it failed? Just a second. Let me try one more time. I will try one more time. Okay, no issues. Okay, let me close the, let me just run this test case right here. Somehow it is giving me some issue. Let me just run the second test case. Oh, okay. We are not writing the second one, right? Perfect. Guys. Yeah, we are trying to run the second one. Yeah. Let me run only the second one. So when I try to run the second scenario, I need to give a new name, screen shot element. Okay. Yeah, screen shot element. Perfect. Screenshot of specific element. I will run this tag. You can run from here. But again, I don't want to just mess up with the habits, conventions. Let's run the second scenario. All right, so the system is going to capture the screenshot of this specific element only. You see something happened. Screenshot is taking. And it is up here, right here. There we go. So now we are able to see only screenshot of the specific element. In the others, we are taking screenshot of the entire page. So this is also a feature that is easy to use with that Selenide. I will just finally run all of them. So two screenshots I am expecting. One is for the entire page. The second one is for just the specific element. All right. It is still running. Oh, okay. This will not work because in the second refresh, it is no more there. So it will fail. Yeah, it will fail because that element is no more there. So for that, we will put in a try catch. So let me put this in a try catch because guys, that pop-up is not sometimes it is not visible. Sometimes it is visible. I'm going to put this in try catch. Otherwise, it will fail if the element is not there. So this is enough. Okay. So pretty much that's it. So I use try catch because that the functionality of that element is when you refresh or when you go to open the browser on the same page again, that pop-up is not visible. That is how the pop-up is designed. That's why it failed actually, because element is not visible when we try to open the same page twice. But when you use try catch, if the element is there, take a screenshot. If the element is not there, simply try to take a screenshot, but if it fails, then keep moving on. All right, that's pretty much it for today. I will run from the future from here, from this one more time, make sure it is working one last time. Okay, let's take a screenshot of this page. There we go, done. All right, so we are able to take a screenshot with no issue in our last screenshot as well. So you see right here, and it stems with in order, they are not overriding each other. So, and actually, in fact, the normal screenshot, I think also they are not overriding each other, but it makes sense if you want to see when is the screenshot is taking. So I suggest you to use this date when you take a screenshot of the page, because it will give you the flexibility of the date when it is taken. For example, I took a last screenshot at 1:43 p.m. in Central Time Zone in 2023. That is a Saturday, April 8th. This is a good feature to use. All right, so this is our day 3, end of day 3. We have one more day. Then tomorrow we are gonna finish our topics. We pretty much will learn the cross-browser testing. So far, we have been running in Chrome by default. Selenide runs in Chrome. But what if you want to use in Firefox or some other browsers? Is there any way? Yeah, it is very easy with Selenide. We just need to do configuration. And tomorrow, I would like to talk a little bit about the the reports here, HTML reports. Some of you may already know, right? And I am planning to also add one more report that we can add here. That is Spark reports. There is visual perfect report that we can use with Selenide, and also reusable method. Okay. Tomorrow, we may or may not have the full session. We will see how it goes. But I will add some more valuable lessons for you tomorrow, and we will conclude Selenide classes. All right, that's it for today, guys. Have a good rest of the day. Bye for now. I will see you tomorrow.